Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast. Have you heard this saying? Just because you're thirsty does not mean you should drink poison. Pretty sage advice, right? Why? Because it'll make us sick, all right? Well, what if your body saw diets as poison? Say what? Well, it would feel like it's getting sick. It would do everything it could to fight off what was happening. It would do everything it could to rebel against the experience that we would be trying to put it in. Well, that doesn't make sense because most diets are clean eating and being healthier than what we were before. And why would our body fight us? Because it's never about the food or the drink, ever. It is about what that food or drink represents. It's about the fact that you've used an outside source to make you feel better whenever life is going the wrong way. It's because you were taught to depend on something outside of you to cope. And now you're taking it away with a diet. Well, of course your body is going to fight you. So first it's going to be your body and then it's going to be your heart because those emotions were getting something out of the food. And now you've taken their ability to either be, calmed down or to be jump started away. And then what about the beliefs? The beliefs that you have that say, you can't do this on your own because if you could, you'd already have the results. And now you're taking that away also with the diet. Is it any wonder why diets do not work? And if they do, it's only short term. People go, oh, it's a lifestyle change. Well, your body, your heart, and your mind are quite happy with the lifestyle that they have right now by depending on a source outside of them, a substance outside of them to make them feel okay. And until you get them on your side, it will always be a battle and a conflict that you will not win long term. Wow. So what do we do about this? Well, that's why I'm here for you today. Oh, by the way, oh my gosh, if you're new to my world, Dawn Ferguson. I am a certified hypnotist. I have spent the last 17 years helping people with, when you think of hypnosis, a lot of people would say behavioral modification. Well, yeah, that worked my first year in business. But then I realized it wasn't enough because our behaviors are dependent upon the emotions we experience. And guess what? The overwhelm and the stress and the fear are not going to go away. So we actually have to use those as extra energy sources for success, turning that stress into extra energy for success. So that's known as emotional optimization. But then I decided that still wasn't enough because the emotions that we experience on a consistent basis are going to be predicated by what we believe about ourselves. And 80% of our beliefs were accepted by age 8. Now I got a challenge because it wasn't based on our brilliance. I mean, really, how many 8-year-olds are absolutely magnificent at what they're doing? No, our beliefs were based upon who we needed to be for someone else to feel okay in their life. So we actually learned to connect with others, to hold ourselves back, to hold ourselves down so they would feel okay about themselves. We learned to settle for the crumbs that were left over. We really wanted love, but what we settled for was connection. And that's what the majority of our beliefs are based on, is connecting to others, not through progress, but through painful problems. I mean, how many times do you hear people talk about, oh yeah, on this diet and I'm having all these challenges and now I'm going through a detox, instead of going, oh, wow, this inspired me to be my very best. You see, it is our identities, our pyramid of power that holds all three levels, our actions, our emotions, and our focus through our mind, that will then allow us to reveal who we really are at our healthiest. And so that's what I've been doing for a really, really long time. And then I train others to do this. I'm also a certified instructor through the National Guild of Hypnotists. I train others to do this. And so my level of expertise, well, it's got to be pretty much tip top. And that's what I want to share with you today, because I want you to go to the top of your health, your wealth, and your happiness. And your body is going to treat diets as poison, because the very thing that it's been relying on to help it cope, you're taking away from it. So let me give you a couple of tips here on how you can begin to upgrade things. See, you can't take a habit out. Once something has been accepted, it will always be there. The only way a habit can be overcome is by an upgraded identity, where the habit itself is then upgraded. And so that means physical, the emotional, the mental. Let's work on the physical today. You are using food and drink. And when I say drink, I most of the time mean alcohol. Hey, the last year, there, there have been people who have reached for alcohol to help them cope in greater numbers than we have ever seen before. And I'm going to tell you right now, whether it's the food or whether it's the drink, it's not your fault. You were doing the best you could with what you had at the time, but it's no longer good enough. I am not going to let you settle for less than your best. We've got to start working on that identity upgrade right now. Okay. So there are 4 personality types when it comes to food and drink. We're going to cover the 2 major ones. You will find that you fall into one of these categories, even though I've had people over, decade and a half, almost 2 decades go, I think I find myself in both of these. Well, yes, you will, but one of them will be the primary category that you will be pulled into to help you cope. Remember, it's never about the food or drink. It's the fact that you've gone through an experience where you didn't possess the skill set to get through it to the other side for progress. And because the pain was so overwhelming, you had to reach for something outside of you, because when we're in pain, we'll do anything to get out of it. And the mind always takes the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance, what you've been taught, is to reach for something other than yourself and your identity. Okay. So 2 categories: stress brain or emotional brain. What do these mean? Let's start with the stress brain. The stress brain is the person that when they wake up in the morning, it's like, oh, what can happen today? They're already on edge. I'm very familiar with this. I had a physical condition that actually turned my adrenals on 24/7 and put me into crisis fight or flight for many, many years, all the time. I know what this feels like. And so the stress brain doesn't have to have anything to set it off. It's already like that. By the way, 50% of this is genetic, 40% of it is learned, 10% is situational. We're not talking about the situational, oh my gosh, we are talking about your everyday awareness because you were genetically coded that way. The stress brain will look for food and drink to calm it down. You can feel raw a lot of the time. And having this turned on, this kind of startle reaction, phew, it wears you out. So you will reach for things, for food that will actually create a calming sensation in your body. What is that going to be? That's going to be the empty carbs. So it's going to be the breads, the pastas, the chips, the pretzels, anything that's going to cause a soothing sensation in the body. But because you relied on a source outside of you, and that typically only lasts anywhere from 45 to 90 minutes, and then it's gone, then you're going to be back on the edge again, going, okay, what do I need to do? And because the brain always takes the path of least resistance, it's going to reach for even more food in this manner. And once you start heading in this direction, once your powerful mind starts establishing a habit that this is how you get your needs met, then it goes, how can I speed up the habit? Uh-oh. And this is the reason why if a little is good, a whole lot more has got to be better. So what happens if you find yourself that you're a stress brain? You need to engage in physical activity that will get you out of your head and out of your emotions and back into your body, which is the very place you do not want to be because it's raw and it's overwhelmed and it doesn't feel good. I get that. But it's establishing the connection that your body does not want to hurt you. It's asking for help whenever it's going through this experience. So, anywhere from 90 seconds to 10 minutes of brisk physical activity, but it needs to be, and it needs to be a doctor's okay, but it should be the type of brisk physical activity where you cannot think about anything else except what you're doing, or else you'll stumble over your own feet. This is what will begin to slow down those thoughts. And those emotions of overwhelm will begin to soften because you're actually using your system, your body, to begin to use the chemicals that it's producing instead of suppressing and repressing with the food. You're beginning to use the chemicals. And so you begin to do that anywhere from 90 seconds, things begin to soften all the way up to 10 minutes. And then after that, you can have the food. I'm not going to tell you that you cannot reach for how you've been coping because the mind will rebel against no's. It always wants to be given the choice of two yeses. It's what's known as a subconscious successive yes set, which is a fancy word for I will rebel against you if you tell me it's only black or white. So instead of saying, no, I can't have that, instead go, you know what? I'll have it after I begin to use the chemicals that my body's been producing. 90 seconds to 10 minutes of brisk physical activity where you have to think about the action that you're taking. And then you can have the food. And what you're going to find if you do this continually over 21 days, some people say it takes 21 days for a habit. No, it doesn't. It takes 66 days. It takes 21 days for emotional optimization. That means it takes 3 weeks for you to begin to feel like you're making progress. So you begin to do this for 21 days, and around that time, you're going to notice that you need a whole whooping bunch less food, if any at all, and instead your body begins to crave that movement. Now, that's if you're a stress brain. What if you're an emotional brain? An emotional brain is the exact opposite. You kind of flatline around emotions. You look for things to give you a jump start, to get you excited, to get the adrenaline going. And by the way, besides sugar and sweets, which, whoa, yeah, that'll get you all amped up, drama. Drama is another way to get you all turned on in a negative way that's going to hold you back. Okay, so sugars and sweets. And then again, 45 minutes to 90 minutes, it's dissipated. And then you begin to feel sluggish and your body's going, no, give me more of that. Okay, so what is it that you need to do? Well, if you happen to be the emotional brain, you are what I call the cheerleaders in life. You are the ones that inspire others and you get them all excited and passionate and ready to take action. And so brisk physical activity for you works really well when it's done with others. Oh my gosh. So pairing up with at least one other person and going, okay, we need to work this off. Come on, we can do it. Woohoo. So maybe if you get stressed out at work and you still have lunch times, it's getting people together in a physically distance kind of way. Should never have been called socially distanced. That was a bad imagery for our powerful mind that said, oh, we need to cut ourselves off from others. And yet we have to have others in our life. We must have that emotional engagement. So physical distancing, not social. Okay. So physical distancing, maybe you get everybody in the office up and moving for some stretching before it's lunch break time, or you do some FaceTime with your best friend and go, woohoo, let's do 90 seconds of star jacks. In my day, they used to call them jumping jacks. Now they call them star jacks. Oh, okay. But you should be doing it with someone else because that's what excites you is the emotional engagement. And if you don't emotionally engage, you will get emotionally entangled with drama and high highs, low lows. Same thing as before, 21 days for you to feel like, hey, this is really working. So during that time, you can have the sweets, the sugar, but do this first. Engage with somebody first. And that might take a little bit of creativity on your part for you to be able to develop that in a way that works the very best for you. Okay, we've still got two other levels, and this is just one small piece in the picture of you and progress. Remember, your body has learned to rely on things outside of you, and you just can't take those away. And that's exactly what a diet does, which is the reason why the first three letters are die, because that's what it feels like you're going through. And the subconscious will fight you every part, every step of the way. So, what if we could make this a whole hoopin' bunch easier, more enjoyable, and actually bring you out at your best? Because we've still got the emotional level. The emotional level is the story that you have about your painful history. And you went through an experience where you felt like you didn't have the ability to cope with it. And so that's when you started turning to sources outside of you to feel okay. This then created emotional wounds that continue to get triggered today because that pain hasn't been given a purpose. The wound hasn't been given what it needs to be able to heal. And this is when we begin to peel back the layers and reveal the real you. And by the way, it's not just pounds that have been packed on, because you can go to the other end of the spectrum and be dealing with binging and purging and be what others perceive to be really fit, and knowing inside it feels like you're dying a little bit every single day because you're still using food and drink as a way to control a life that you feel like you cannot cope with. That's the layers that we need to pull away. So this is what I'm going to offer you. What if you could get together with me and a select group of other women for a heart, mind, body virtual mastermind, where we come together every week to celebrate our successes as well as to ask for assistance with our struggles, to be validated, but also to be held accountable for achieving who we really are. And that 6-week Mind, Heart, Body Virtual Mastermind is based on a system that has been proven to work with your health and wellness. Well, that's what I'm inviting you to. It is known as the Weight Loss Solution. Train your mind, heart, and body for lasting weight reduction. You get instant access to the course, but then you also get to join in this 6-week virtual mastermind other women who are going to be going through the same system as you, and you're going to be able to support them as well as to get the help that you need, not just from me, but from the entire group. And I have set this at an investment amount that is going to be easily doable for you just about wherever you're at, because I'm here to help you turn on your brilliance, because the world is a better place when you're in a better place. When you're better, it's better. So your success really is my business. How do you take a look at everything you get with this? Go to drewdawnferguson.com/WLS. Stands for Weight Loss Solution. But the very special pricing that I have on there, oh my gosh, I've made it as doable as possible for you. That very special pricing is not going to stay around for very long. So I'm here to support you. There are other women that want to come together and support you, but they also need your wisdom, your unique take on things. So let's all come together for you to reveal who you really are and give your pain a purpose for progress. Okay, so your plan of action. Step 1, if you're a stress, then you need to be doing things to calm you down that you actually have to think about when you move your body. Or if you're an emotional, you have to engage with someone else while you're getting yourself pumped up. Step 2, you can still have the food or drink, but have it after you've done this. And notice how over the 21 days, you're going to need less and less. And step 3, drewdawnferguson.com/WLS. It's time to reveal who you really are, and I would be honored to be the one to support you in this.